Hey, we're live. All right. Hello. We're going to give this a few minutes and see if people are around. But I'm celebrating. Today is my 2-year anniversary on BookTube. Can you believe it? I made my first video like 2 years ago. So congrats. I have a glass of wine to celebrate. So I had very, very late decided that I was going to do this, and so requested some questions. Did get some. Thank you to those of you who actually submitted like some last minute questions for this. Um, so yeah, it's been 2 years, guys, on BookTube. Let's have some wine. I did have lunch first, so you know, not on an empty stomach. All right. So we'll see if people show up. I don't know, like it's a Saturday. People might be out enjoying the weather. But thank you guys so much. I just wanted to say this has been one of the best things that I have done, honestly. Like, BookTube has been a game changer for me in so many ways. I don't know if I've talked about this much here in a while, but I started. I can't see. Oh, somebody's here. Okay, sorry. It's like with the light, it's hard to see. I started my YouTube channel 2 years ago after going to BookCon for the first time, actually. It was kind of my birthday present to myself. I had just had our second kid a few months back, so at the time I had. Hi! Hi, Katarina. Hello. I'm so glad people are joining in. So I'm just like chatting a little bit about the history of my channel, and then I'm going to get into some of your guys' questions. Coffee, books, and bullet journals. Hi! How are you? Yay! I'm glad people are coming. Some wine in my I'm done adulting, let's be wizards wine glass from Enchanted Phantom. She makes these like great glary wine glasses. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. So I started my YouTube channel when I had my older kid was 3. He was 3, and I had a like 5 or 6 month old. I guess I had a 6 month old, and I had worked full time when we just had one kid, and then we moved to New York and had another baby, and that just wasn't possible because of childcare costs, and I was going a little crazy. And honestly, BookTube was a huge lifesaver for my mental health. It was a game changer for me, and it's been one of the best things I've done. I love it. I love everything about it. It's opened up so many doors, and I've made so many amazing friends through this platform. I just am so glad that this is a thing that I've done. So I'm celebrating 2 years on BookTube. It's been wonderful, and I'm so happy that it was something that I did. Yeah. So, because having kids is a lot, guys, and I like work. Like, I like working and having things going on, and I've always been a big reader. So, I will say, I feel like I'm unusual. Thank you. Thank you. It's exciting. Um, I feel like I'm a little bit unusual on BookTube because it seems like most creators knew BookTube was a thing before they started their channels. I barely did. I used to be a big YouTube watcher. I watched a lot of like beauty videos and family vlogs and stuff like that, and always thought it would be fun to try doing a channel, but I was like, what am I gonna do? What would I talk about? And then I went to BookCon 3 years ago. Oh, 2 years, two, 2 years ago. I've been doing this for 2 years. Oh my gosh, guys, my brain, I can't. Anyway, I went to BookCon. This was my third BookCon. So it's been 2. Yeah. Anyway, I went. Sorry, I went to BookCon and found out through some of the panels that BookTube was a thing, and I thought, well, I love books. I could totally do that. And just like with it, like a couple weeks later, filmed a video and tried, and it's been fantastic. So anyway, thank you to those of you who submitted questions. I have a few, so I'm going to go through those. And if anybody on live stream has questions they want to ask as well, or things you want to chat about, I'm happy to do that. All right, so I had one question come in from Instagram. I was really bad about not doing this until last minute, so this is why I feel like I got the most questions on Twitter, but we're gonna do the other ones. I had one actually on the community tab here, but I don't know what the question was. So maybe one of you guys can tell me. I don't know what she means. She said thoughts on R and R's. In this context, I don't know what that means. Do any of you watching know what that means? Because I would love to answer the question. I mean, does that mean like revise and resubmit for like writing? Because I don't know much about it, but is that what she means, or is it something else? Tell me if you know, because I don't. Meanwhile, Brandy from Brandy Janae's Bookshelf gave me a question on Instagram. Thank you, Brandy. She's really wonderful. Definitely check out her channel if you haven't. But she asked, what's the most exciting thing that's happened since starting my YouTube channel? Man, I feel like so many exciting things have happened. I've had some really cool opportunities with getting to meet amazing authors and do interviews with some authors, which has been really cool. Even when I was a pretty much a baby channel, I just kind of like was like, well, I'll just ask people, and was surprised when they said yes. So like I had a really tiny channel, and I did an interview with Mackenzie Lee, the author of Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, and it was really great and really fun. Like she was lovely, but like I didn't I didn't have very many subscribers at the time. Um, and let's see, last year I interviewed Sandhya Menon. I've interviewed Christina Perez twice. And this year I got to do an interview with the Jess Rothenberg, the author of my favorite YA book of the year so far, The Kingdom. So that was really, really cool. She was wonderful. And I've just gotten to meet so many amazing people. That's been exciting. And then I think like, okay, I kind of freaked out this year because I went to Book Expo and BookCon. I live in New York, so it was like, thankfully I didn't have to pay for travel or housing or tickets because I had a media badge, so it was pretty much just meals and the subway was my expenses for it, which is why I was able to go. It was wonderful. But I got invited by Tortine to go to a special event during Book Expo, and I freaked out when I got the invitation email. I don't know how I got on their radar or their mailing list. It was very exciting. Holly, hey, thank you. Thank you. It's very exciting. Yeah, so that was like a cool moment, honestly, where I was like, how did I get invited to this thing by Tortine? I love Tor and Tortine. So yes, absolutely. That was like a very, very exciting moment. So thank you, Brandy. Okay, let's look at Twitter. Anybody, and I'll intersperse, anybody on here have any questions or things you want me to talk about? Feel free to ask. We're just gonna hang out and chat about whatever. Doesn't have to be book related, can be book related, whatever. Okay. Think about it. I'm gonna do a question from Twitter. So let's see. I'm gonna say this wrong. The Hay Fairy. I'm not sure. They asked. Sorry, I can't tell. Books you want to review on your channel in the future. Okay, so I have actually a good answer for this. I have a project that I really, really want to do. If I can get my life together enough to do it. I'm a very, very long time reader of the Shadowhunter books by Cassandra Clare. I know people are very mixed on this. What kind of books did I survive it? Oh, good question, Holly. Okay, I will answer that. I'm gonna forget. Okay, let's just answer that real quick. Books, shoes at Book Expo. I wore sneakers. One day I wore flats and I regretted it. I wore sneakers. Oh shoot. I need to write these down, guys. This is terrible. Things I wish I knew at the beginning. Okay. Sorry, this is a mess. Okay, so, books I want to review on my channel in the future. What I was going to say was, I am a longtime reader of the Shadowhunter books by Cassandra Clare. Like, I've been reading them for, I don't know, like 9 years or something like that. So, for a very, very long time. I know not all the books are perfect. I think the writing is getting better, but I just love the world so much. I love the world. I love some of the characters, and I think she's done a lot of really important stuff. But it's been many, many, many years since I have read The Mortal Instruments. I started reading them back when the Clockwork series was just coming out, because those were kind of interspersed. So, there was the Clockwork Prince was the only one out. That was when I started reading the Shadowhunter books, for those of you who've read them. And I haven't reread the Mortal Instruments series, and I would like to. I think it would be interesting and fun. So, I would love to reread the Mortal Instruments and vlog it, and possibly, since I live in New York City and they're set in New York City, possibly even like vlog going to some of the places from the books. I think that could be really cool and fun. So that's like on my to-do list for the year. So we'll see. I gotta figure out like when and how I might do that, but that would be really, really fun. Okay, Katerina, favorite book to movie or TV adaptation that has come out or is going to come out? Oh, that's I'm always really bad at this, tough on the spot. I did really like. I thought Love, Simon was a really good adaptation of Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. I thought that was really cool. Six Grishaverse, of course. I'm very excited for Grishaverse, guys. I mean, yes, that I'm super super excited for. I'm also really excited for the Wayward Children series by Shauna McGuire. That one is getting adapted. Those are not out yet, but I am so hyped for both of those. I hope they do them justice. I think they're going to be really really fun. Okay, so a question I had earlier was things I wish I knew when I started my YouTube channel. Okay, things I wish I. So I think. Okay, I wish I had known. Maybe I kind of knew this. It's a lot of work. Totally agree both. Yes. Yes, yes, we're so so excited for them. Oh my gosh! Book Babe 88, I just got Princess in Theory because of you. Oh, that makes me so so happy. It makes me so happy when people like say they're picking books up because of me. I love it. Yes, Alyssa Cole, I mean, she's my favorite, seriously. She's the best. Contemporary romance. Okay, sorry, I'm getting so sidetracked. But like things I wish that I knew when I started my channel, I think like it's difficult, especially at the beginning. Like unless you already have, I think it's different if you've already built some kind of a platform or audience in the book world when you start out. I had not. Had not. Thank you. Thank you. Read, listen, love. Congratulations. Thank you. Mm. So when I started my channel, I like didn't really have a presence in the book community, and so getting that first like 100 subscribers was like pulling teeth. It was so slow, and like there's a big learning curve. I really enjoy it. I love all of it. I like the filming and the editing. I do have a background in I have done some theater. I had done some video editing previously. I did speech and debate. I mean, it's been a lot of years, but I had some, so I was like relatively comfortable being on camera. But you definitely get better with it as you go, and I think that's fine. Actually, like I think it's good to just kind of go with it and be yourself and figure it out, and you'll make changes, and I think that's okay. You don't have to be perfect. Thankfully, also usually not that many people are watching your videos at the beginning, so like you can go back. All of my videos are still up, so you can go back and look at my super early videos, and they are like not great. Like my camera was really bad. I was like, you just get more comfortable, and yeah. But I think it's worth knowing that it does take a lot of effort and planning for consistency, because I think that's a big thing. Is there's a lot of people who had started booktube channels around when I did and aren't doing this anymore. And I think it's just because you can get burnt out. And so I think starting slow, like maybe committing to like whatever works for you, like a couple videos a month if that's what it is, but just doing it consistently so that people get used to it. And like connecting with people in the community across platforms, I think is really important. So yeah, I don't know. I can't think of anything else that I like really wish I had known when I started. But also I had watched so much other YouTube. I think I expected people to be much nastier because I'd seen the comment section on these other communities, and so it was like a pleasant surprise to me because I was like, oh no, people are going to be horrible. And I mean, I do get hate comments occasionally, like it does happen, but not nearly as much as a lot of other communities in general. Like booktube is much much kinder. So yeah. Okay, let's see, what was my next question here. I had more questions on Twitter, so let's see what we have. Steph's romance book talk. I love her. She is like the romance queen. I read a lot of books. I read like 300 a year. She reads as many books as I do, and they are almost all romance. So like, she is the queen of romance. If you want it, recommendations. She said, what is one tip you have used to grow your channel? One thing I mentioned already was just the consistency of just, like being consistent with your uploads. The other thing that I do actually is I have a channel, or I have a couple places where I subscribe to videos that specifically talk about best practices for YouTube as a whole and have tips for improving your content. And so I actively seek that out and watch it and try to get better. Hey Lori, thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming and hanging out. It's very exciting. So I would recommend doing that, like even for things that are not specific to BookTube, I think it's worth knowing like what to think about when you title your videos and creating thumbnails and tagging your videos. Like I think there's a lot of behind the scenes work that happens that people don't always talk about that's really important, and it's a part of how people find you, because if people don't know what your video is about or don't find it, they're not going to find you. Um, Oh, thank you, Book Baby D. I respond to comments. Thank you. I do make an effort. Like sometimes it takes me a few days, but like once every like 3 days or so, I really make an effort to try to like go respond to stuff. Thank you. Great tips for beginners. What's your reading routine to complete a book? Huh. Let's see. Um, so the way that I do my reading usually is I always have at least 3 books going at a time, and often they're multiple genres. So if I'm like not feeling one, I can do another. So I always have an audiobook, I have an ebook, which is usually an ARC from NetGalley, and I have a physical book. And so I like I kind of read what because I am a bit of a mood reader, but I try to get through things on my TBR, at least the things that I really need to get to. And so for me, I kind of switch it up and I read multiple books at once. Like that works well for me. So like my audiobook I can listen to when I'm like doing errands or cleaning up the house or like exercising or things like that. And then ebooks are good kind of for other in between things. And then physical books I mostly do when I have a chance to really sit down and read. Like it's harder for me to read a physical book on the go, like at the park with my kids or whatever. Tucker, what's your favorite publisher to work with? Um, I have really been loving Macmillan. I have gotten to know like some of the publicists there with their YA imprints. So with Fierce Reads, and they have been really great and fun and helpful to work with. I think that's one thing is like treating publicists like people, like being kind and like is important if you're in this and you're wanting to like connect with them. Like I think connecting with publicists is really great. Living in the city is really helpful too. And then also I recently at Book Expo got to meet a really wonderful publicist for Orbit, which is an adult sci-fi fantasy imprint, Paula, and she's really lovely too and has been really great. So yeah, but Fierce Reads has been really, really good to me with like sending me stuff I've requested. And in general, like I've had really, I tend to like a lot of what Macmillan is publishing, but there's a lot of good publishers out there. Okay, did I answer the other earlier question about how I finish books? Yeah, I think that's it. I always have like 3 books in different formats, and I just switch back and forth and keep reading till I finish. I don't know. Hopefully that's helpful. Okay, what else do we have? Hi, Vivian Reads. Eva, oh, thank you. I'm so glad you discovered it. How do I manage to read so many books? What's my job? When did I start reading? Oh, good questions. Okay, so let's see. I started reading like when I was very, very young. I have always been a big reader ever since I was a kid. Summers and during the year, I would go to the library and get like big stacks of books. Hey, Amanda! I would get big stacks of books. So I've always been a big reader. That's nothing new. The YouTube thing and reviewing books is new, but I've always read a lot. I read less in grad school because I didn't have time, and I could only let myself read on school breaks because otherwise I just wouldn't want to stop and I needed to read for school. But in general, I've always been a really big reader. How do I get through so many books? So I've talked about this in other places. I thought that maybe I should do an updated video with tips. But I always have a book with me in one form or another and always read across, like I said, in multiple ways. So I do a lot of audiobooks, like in a given month, anywhere from a third to half of the books that I am reading are via audio. And so I will listen to audiobooks when I'm cleaning the house or exercising or at the playground with my kids or going grocery shopping or whatever, like when I'm doing other things. And I know not everyone can do that. I know some people have a hard time comprehending when they listen, but it works for me. And I actually also have a hard time listening to audiobooks at regular speed. So I listen to them at 2 times speed or at least 1.5 speed, and that helps a lot. It speeds it up, but also helps me comprehend it. I know everybody's different. You got to figure out what works for you, but that's something I do. So a lot of my reading comes that way. I always have an ebook going, and I have a physical book going. I do read fairly fast. Like I think I'm a faster than average reader, but I also just like don't watch a whole lot of TV. And I, how do I review books? Okay, so yeah, I don't watch a whole lot of TV, and I just, yeah, that's kind of what I do. I'm always reading something. Oh man, so many questions, guys. So many questions. I need to like write these down. How do I review books? Requesting arcs. Do I listen to podcasts? I haven't listened to podcasts. Okay, requesting arcs. I used to listen to podcasts, but I don't really have time these days. I'm mostly reviewing books. How do I review books? Okay. And there was another question in that three-parter that I know I didn't get to. What was it? Yeah, Amanda, you listen at 2 times speed for contemporary. Fantasy goes slower. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think sometimes for high fantasy, I have to slow it down, or sometimes what I will do is listen for not for the entire book, but for parts of it. If it's fantasy, especially, is I might read the book physically and listen at the same time, and sometimes that can help with the comprehension for at least parts of it. So I do that, and sometimes I can listen to it faster that way too. So I do that. Whoever was earlier, I know I missed a part of your three-part question and I didn't write it down. So tell me what that was and I will get to it. Yeah, I know a few reviewers who like to read along. It's sometimes that can help. Okay, I'm glad I have a pen now. So now I'll start writing down questions so I don't forget them. I'm going to go to a Twitter question and then I will get back to a couple of the ones that you guys put on here. So I had a question from Remembered Reads who, oh, what is my job? Thank you. That's, okay, great. I'll get to that in just a second. Audiobook actors. Oh, man, guys, full of good questions here. Okay, so Remembered Reads asks, what have been the reading and community highlights of these 2 years? So I've talked a little bit about some of the reading highlights, I think, in terms of like meeting authors and doing interviews. That's all been amazing. I think one of the biggest highlights for me has been some of the friendships that I've made. Oh yeah, Amanda says Fiona Hardingham and Steve West. I second that. They're great audiobook narrators. But some of the friendships I've made have been amazing. Like I I don't know. I feel like I've got this group of amazing female friends that are also creators on this platform that I've made, and it's the first time that I've really had a group of women friends that we chat together with and have so much to talk about and in common. I've had individual women as friends before and always kind of wanted a group of women to be friends with, and this is the first place that I've really found that. And we're all readers. We all like think critically about stuff, and like I have made so many amazing relationships, but also there's groups too that I've connected with, and that's been a huge highlight for me. Yeah, Amanda's one of them. Yay, book friends. It's really been amazing, especially being a mom with little kids, because I like getting out socially is not something I get to do all that often, to be honest. And so having these virtual friendships and relationships, and we chat a lot like on Voxer and through and text and stuff like that, and that's been huge for me. Like huge for my mental health and just really really wonderful. So that's been a highlight. Okay, back to the job question. Ooh, okay, so before BookTube, so my husband is a professor, so we've moved around quite a bit, and where we lived before here, when we just had one kid, I was a research project manager in the social sciences. So that's what I did, and then we moved to New York and I was pregnant with our second when we moved here, and so we had our second baby, and childcare is really expensive. And I wasn't sure that was what I wanted to do anyway, and so this is part of what got me 2 years ago to start my YouTube channel in the first place, was because I was going a little crazy, not working full time and like being home with my kids, who I love, but like I needed more. And so now I do a lot of things and I'm slowly figuring out how to balance it. I do this, I do YouTube, I do Instagram. I am a part-time publicist for an indie PR company. That's a new thing I've been doing. Another thing that I've started doing recently, if you guys want to check it out, is there's a company that makes an app, Amino Apps, that's really cool, and they have little communities, some of them around books, and I've started making some paid content for them. So like it's almost like Instagram stories, but better with like more editing and music, and like it's like like a step above Insta stories basically. And so if you guys want to follow me over there, I'll put a link eventually in the video description down below if you guys want to, sorry, if you guys want to check that out. But that's been really cool, so I'm doing that. I'm also like slowly getting into the may get into like doing some audiobook narrating. So I'm doing a lot of freelance stuff and doing a mix of things, and I'm with my kids a lot too at the moment. My oldest kid is in pre-K, he's going to be in kindergarten this fall, and in another year my youngest will be going into pre-K, and at that point I will probably be ramping up the work that I'm doing. But right now I have a babysitter like a day to a day and a half a week, and then my husband is mostly hangs out with the kids on the weekends so I can get stuff done. And yeah, that is what I do at the moment. So it's like kind of different things cobbled together, cool opportunities that are slowly growing. And I do recognize like there's some privilege that comes with being able to do that in the first place. Like my husband has a stable job as a professor, and so I'm able to do that. Yeah, so hopefully that answers that question. Okay, let's do another Twitter one, because I don't want to like leave people out who ask questions. Okay, Kesha in Bookland, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, but asks, what is the latest book that I read that I gave a 5-star rating to? Oh, great question. Let me pull up my reading spreadsheet here, because guys, this is like the research project manager and researcher in me. I love spreadsheets, they're so fun. Like, I love my stats. Okay, so those of you who follow me closely might know that like for me, I actually have an expanded rating scale, and so for me, I have 5 stars, but then I also give 6 stars to, like on my own spreadsheet, I give 6 stars to my favorite books of the year, and so the most recent book that got 5 or 6 stars was With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo, which I loved. Oh, I actually have it right here, because I just filmed I'm going to try doing a mid-month wrap-up, because if you saw, my last one was like an hour long, and they're such a beast to film and edit, so I'm going to start doing a mid-month wrap-up, where you can hear about the books that I've read halfway through, and then my end-of-month one will have all my normal stats. But this is With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. It's a beautiful book, and I loved it. This, I think, is cementing her as an auto-buy author for me. The Poet X, her debut novel last year, was one of my favorite books of the year. I've read it twice, and I love it. It's a favorite. This is amazing. It is about a young woman named Imani, who is a teen mom, and it's about her kind of juggling raising her little girl with, oh, sorry, I'm getting comments here, read levels. Yeah, finding time. I would recommend audiobooks and like streaming TV, seriously, for getting your reading going. Yeah, I don't watch much TV. I occasionally do. I watch Bachelorette Monday nights when it's on. And I occasionally watch like Queer Eye or something, but I don't watch much TV. So, anyway, so this is about a teen mom. She's finishing up high school and dreams of being a chef, and it's about her kind of balancing the struggles of like parenting a small child with her dreams of the future and finishing high school and financial issues, and it's just beautiful. The character development that Elizabeth Acevedo does is amazing. There's so much I love about this. I wrote a pretty in-depth review on my Goodreads if you guys want to go check that out. But yeah, this is going to be a favorite book of the year for me. I think it's really, really good. She's an amazing writer. So yeah. Okay. All right, let's move on to a question you guys had earlier. Scribd. Yes, Scribd is great. Let's talk about Scribd, actually. Sorry, for audiobooks. And this is especially true for me. Like, I know Audible is good, I think, if you don't listen to that many audiobooks, because it gives you like one a month. But I listen to so many, and a lot of them I get from my library through Overdrive. But I canceled my Audible subscription and did Scribd because it's cheaper, and you have unlimited access to them, and I listen to so many audiobooks. It's like such a good deal. Oh, Lori, you're going to read With the Fire on High. That's great. It's a wonderful summer. It'll be good for summer-a-thon. It's a really, really good one. Yes, another person loves Scribd. I love Scribd. It's so good. Actually, I'll link it eventually down here, but in some of, I should link it. I think I've got a thing. I'll put it here when this video is over, where you can get a free 60-day trial of it, and then it like gives me a free month. So if you guys want to do that, I'll link it. It's great though. Definitely worth checking out. Okay. So I answered the job question. How do I review books? Oh man, that's a big question. I know I did like a whole video about this at some point. And I guess the review is different from rate also. Yeah, the cover to it is beautiful. It's really fantastic. how do I review books? So everybody's a little bit different. I think I probably tend to give slightly higher ratings than some people. Like I have a friend, for example, Mara from Books Like Whoa, where for her, a 5 stars is an all-time favorite book for her. And so she rarely gives 5 stars to anything. I don't do that. For me, like in my own, because I don't know. Like for me, that's just like not how I prefer to do it. I if I think a book is amazing, whether or not it's an all-time favorite for me, it's going to get 5 stars on Goodreads. If it is a favorite of the year, which I don't give out that many of those, that gets 6 stars, which I discuss here and in my personal like rating spreadsheet. But on Goodreads, I don't like differentiate the same way. I try. I rarely give out 1 stars. I have to like truly hate a book to give it 1 star. Like if it has some redeeming qualities, I'll do like 2 or 2.5 stars. Um, Book Babe, Scribd, some, yeah, okay. So this is the thing with Scribd is if you do the lower level membership, that's like $9 a month. You don't always have access to all the titles. Some of them are available for a while, and then it rotates through. If you do the more expensive membership, which I think is like $14 or $15 a month, then you have access to all of them all the time. So yeah, it just depends. Like you always have access to as many audiobooks as you want, but they rotate which titles are available at the lower level membership. So there is that. Um, yeah, so that's how I kind of do my ratings. If I really really hate a book, I might get 1 star, but I usually don't give very many of them. And especially this year, I've barely given any just because I'm DNFing books that I'm hating that much usually, unless I really think I want to finish it and review it. I've been doing a lot more DNFs. Um, but like 3 stars is like good. Like it was good. It wasn't great. 4 stars is like it was a really really good book, really solid. Wasn't amazing. Still left a few things that weren't perfect, but like still very very good. Like 4 stars is a really really good book. And then 5 stars is like I think it's a really fantastic book. I loved it a whole lot, but it's not like an all-time favorite for me, or it's not one of the top books of the year for me. And a 6 star rating is favorite of the year or maybe all-time favorite. And to give you some idea, last year I read 300 books, and I think I gave out like 16 6 stars, something like that. So it's a pretty low percentage. Like not a lot of books get 6 stars from me, but that's kind of how I do it. In terms of what I look for in reviewing, I do take into account genre. I do take into account age category. So I'm not going to expect the same thing from like an adult literary fiction as I am from like a middle grade fantasy. And so I try to set expectations based on that. Waiting for Tom Hanks. Oh, was it cute? Oh, good. I've seen that around, but I haven't read that one. So yeah, I try to set expectations based on like age category and stuff. What did I learn now from when I first started my channel? I'm like adding to my list, guys. I have so many questions. What have I learned? And not everybody cares about this, but I also like The Kingdom. Yay! People are reading. I'm so happy people are reading The Kingdom, guys. I love it so much, and it makes me so happy. Like on release day, several people were like, "Okay, Bethany, I bought a copy." I'm like, "Yes!" It makes me so happy. Okay. In terms of what I look for in reviews, not everybody cares about this. I really enjoy looking at things like pacing and world building and structure and character development, and so I tend to talk about some of those things in my reviews and look for some of those things. So I'm a bit of a more analytical reviewer, and it's less emotionally driven for me most of the time. Although sometimes there are books where I'm like, I loved my experience so much. I know it's not a perfect book, but I'm still giving it 5 stars because it just made me really, really happy. So that occasionally happens, but in general, I tend to be a little bit more analytical. Okay, next, what should we wear? Guys, so many questions. This is so fun. I'm so happy like so many people came to hang out. This is really awesome. Okay, let's go to another Twitter question. Where are we? Come on. Sorry, guys. This is, okay. Next is coffee. Oh, you're right. Coffee Books and Bullet Journals said, what is the one book I recommend to everyone, even if I don't know their reading tastes? Ooh, that's tough. Yay! You gave The Kingdom 5 stars. Oh, I'm so happy. Yes, yes. Spread it. It's so good. It's so so good, guys. It's such a good book. What is a book I recommend to everyone, even if I don't know their reading taste? That's rough. Like I almost always ask for reading taste because I feel like people are so, so different in the things that they like. Convention or event? Oh boy. Where did my pen go, guys? I lost my pen. Where is it? Okay, it's okay. I have another one. Convention or event for books. Oh, so Hidden Secret. New York City Comic Con is great for books and for ARCs, and nobody goes for the publishers. So if you go, it's a great place to get like winter releases. I love New York City. I mean, obviously I live in New York, so it's not super expensive for me, but it's like a hidden secret that a lot of people don't know. But BookCon and BEA are fun, especially Book Expo. I would say I enjoy. If you're part of the industry, it's definitely fun. I can't think of like a book I would recommend to everyone. I tend to be pretty specific in what I recommend because I think people just do. They have like it depends on the genre, depends on what they like. Maybe something like Becoming by Michelle Obama. I recently read that. It was great. I think most people will probably like it. That's a good one. So there are some of those like general nonfiction ones or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I don't recommend a lot to people blanket statement. That's always hard because people know that I read a lot of books. They'll be like, "Oh, what book do you recommend for me?" And I'm like, give me more information. I don't know. Like, what do you like to read? I can't just like, I don't know. Can anyone else relate? Like, if you're known as a book person, you get that. Okay. Brianna from Coffee Books and Bullet Journals also asked, what is my go-to Starbucks drink? Okay, so typically what I get is a grande Americano with like a couple inches of steamed heavy cream and some stevia. I don't know how exciting that is, but that's my go-to low carb Starbucks drink. And then what is at the top of my travel bucket list? I have never been to Europe. I have been to other countries, but I have never been to Europe, and I would love to go to Europe. Especially the UK would be very, very cool. That's probably at the top of my bucket list. Okay. So yeah. Okay, I think that's all good. I think that's all the Twitter questions. Let's get back to some of your guys' questions. Requesting ARCs. Okay, how do you request ARCs? Good question. Hi, thank you. I'm so glad you came. Okay, so you may be surprised to know that I actually don't request that many. I'm starting to request ARCs, and I'm still surprised when I get them. like, but for a long time, most of the ARCs that I was getting were from events in New York, and living here has been helpful. Oh, Game of Thrones. No, we can talk about that. So, but I will say, probably the best place to start early on is NetGalley. I think NetGalley is a pretty good place to start for reviewing. If you have a Goodreads account or someplace you're reviewing books, you can sign up for NetGalley. Do you have to be a Bookstagram or part of a Book Twitter oh, I see. Okay, got it. Sorry, I have to think about that. So NetGalley is a good place to go for e-ARCs, and if you have a Kindle or some kind of an e-reader, you can do that. And you will honestly be careful though. Don't request too many things, because you will get approved for more than you think, even if you're new. I like kind of went a little wild when I first joined and requested a ton of stuff. So I think NetGalley or Edelweiss are good places to start if you're wanting to start getting ARCs, because I think they're pretty widely accessible even if you're just starting out. Now, once you have been doing it for a little while, you can start reaching out to publicists if you would like, or start developing relationships with publicists. This is one thing that I do think that things like Book Expo and BookCon are really good for, and other types of book festivals that are close to you. It doesn't have to be a big one in New York. It can be a local book festival. But I think if you bring business cards and you treat it professionally and introduce yourself to publicists or people working at those events, that can be a good way to develop a relationship with them and be able to then request books from them. When you are requesting ARCs, if there's something that you want, you need to find out not only who the publisher is and the imprint is, but also who the publicist is, because not every publicist works on every book. A lot of authors, if you go to their website, in their contact information, will give you an email address of who to contact for ARCs. Um, yeah, you said you're smaller on Bookstagram to get eARCs and NetGalley. Yeah, I think definitely NetGalley is a great place to go to start out. But as you grow, you can eventually reach out to people, and then you want to treat it professionally. Write a professional email, tell them what you're interested in, why you're excited about it, give them information. And hi, Melanie, thank you. So in your email, you want to give them some information on who you are, where you post the reviews, why you're interested in the book that you're requesting, and link them, give them direct links to wherever it is you do it. So your Goodreads, your Instagram, your YouTube, all of the above, and give them stats on your numbers of followers or whatever. Like those are some things you want to include. Don't necessarily expect to get a response. Sometimes you will hear back from a publicist and they'll say, yeah, great, we're sending it to you. Sometimes you won't hear back and you won't get it. Sometimes you won't hear back and it'll just show up in your mailbox. So you do also want to include in your email a mailing address. You can say something like, I am including my mailing address below for your convenience, best wishes, or whatever. Like keep it, it's like a professional work type email, but that's how you would go about requesting them. Do be aware, some places are more likely to send you books than others. Penguin Teen is notoriously difficult to get ARCs from. In terms of BookTube, they want you to have at least 10,000 subscribers before they will send you an ARC. Other publishers are not that way. You also might have better luck with publishers that are not the big five or indie publishers in requesting books for review early on, and then eventually you can start to develop relationships. But like, be polite, be kind, try to review things on time to whatever extent you can, and yeah, hopefully that helps in terms of requesting stuff. Okay, what other question did I have? Oh, audiobook actors. Yes, we had a question about like what are some good audiobook actors. Steve West is like a universal favorite. He's really, really great. Fiona Hardingham is good. Honestly, a lot of them are pretty good. There's a lot of good actors. Let me, because I do listen to a lot of them. Let me like scroll through my spreadsheet here. I do keep track of like who the narrators are on a lot of the books. It's also fun sometimes, not always, but often, like when some authors are able to narrate their books and do it really well. So like Becoming by Michelle Obama, she narrates herself and it's great. Elizabeth Acevedo narrates her books herself and she does a fantastic job. I also think Elizabeth Acevedo narrated Pride by Evie Zaboy. I haven't listened to it, but I did read the book and it was really, really good. So that's a good one. Let's see. Kim My Guest is a good one. I've listened to her. She does a pretty good job with stuff. Like scrolling on my spreadsheet. Sorry, guys. Oh yeah, I think I've listened Cassandra Freeman. I've listened to some stuff by her, and she's been pretty great. There's a lot. Oh, Julia Whalen, she's good as well. She's a good narrator. There's a lot of really good narrators, honestly. But I think you just have to kind of find what works for you. She did one of the few books. Who did which book? Sorry, I'm not sure. I just like named a bunch of people, but yeah, there's a lot of really good audiobook narrators. I think you just have to kind of figure out what works for you and what doesn't. There are some people that I can't really listen to. Oh, Pride. Yes. Oh, good. Yeah, I really loved Pride. I didn't listen to it, but I think Elizabeth Acevedo is a great narrator. So, and her and Evie Zaboy both are local to New York. This is another thing. I think living here is really helpful for getting into book stuff because there are so many authors here. A lot of publishing is based here. The Brooklyn Book Festival is really great. I go to that in September. It's like a smaller book festival, but yeah. Anyway, but find like local things too. Okay, what have I learned? I mean, I've learned a lot of things, I guess, since starting my BookTube channel. I mean, I've learned a lot about myself and my reading taste, I think, for one. Yeah, I've learned about like what I like and don't like, and I think I've done a better job of explaining that to other people and getting a better feel for, because I think this is the thing with reviewing books, is it's like anybody can tell you if they liked a book or didn't like a book, but I think the thing that takes a little bit more experience maybe, and why I think book reviewers are important, is being able to tell other people why you liked the book and why they may or may not like a book. Because the reality is that some of my favorite books other people do not like, depending on their taste in books. And so being able to communicate that effectively, I think, is really a learned skill, and an important one. And yeah, so I think I've like learned a lot about my own reading taste and why I might like or dislike things that other people might like or dislike opposite, and learning how to explain that to people. I've also learned that I like romance. I kind of grew up thinking adult romance was just like trashy entirely, and had this like idea in my head of what it was. And then I became friends with Mara from Books Like Whoa, who's this very, very smart woman. She's like a good friend of mine. I love her a whole lot. And she reads like nonfiction and literary fiction. And she also reads like smutty adult romance. And I was like, maybe I'm missing something. I should give this a try. And I discovered that I am kind of picky about what I like, but there's really, really good stuff out there. People like Alyssa Cole, who writes really smart, character driven romance that, like, yeah, it's got like sexy stuff in it, but it also is really socially conscious and does a lot of important work. And so that's something that I've learned since starting my YouTube channel, is that like there's romance out there for everybody. Aw, hi Melanie. I love this so much. Yeah, I love you. You're great. And yeah, romance is fun. So that's like something I've learned since starting. There's been so many things, but those are some highlights. Okay. And this is like a way longer live stream than I thought it was going to be. This is so fun. You love Alyssa Cole. Alyssa Cole is the best, and I'm so happy I've been like spreading it. I'm glad that she's becoming more mainstream. It's been interesting too, because I have done a little bit of reading on the history of romance, and it is fascinating to me how racially segregated it traditionally has been. And so I actually also feel like it's really important for, you know, not reviewers who aren't. I mean, it's important for like anybody to like read and review like people of color's books, but like I actually think it's important too for reviewers who aren't black to read books by black authors and promote them and review them, because they should be mainstream, because they're good. Like, it shouldn't be so segregated. I don't, you know, I mean, there's a place for that if you want that, but I think Alyssa Cole writes books that like everyone can love, and traditionally romance in particular has been really racially segregated, and that's a problem. So anyway, really interesting, like reading up on some of that history. Okay, somebody asked about Game of Thrones. Okay, I have never watched the TV show. I don't generally watch much HBO stuff because it just has so much like sex and nudity, which I'm more okay with in books, but like don't love in TV. So there's that. I did read the first like 2.5 books a long time ago, and I really enjoyed them, but I think I got a little bit like squicked out with the incest stuff, and I decided to stop. I think I'm a very different reader now than I was back then, and so I've thought at some point I would be interested in maybe revisiting them, but also they're so long and I have so many other things to read, so it has not been a priority. But if people would be interested in seeing that, I might be up for like revisiting them and actually like really reading Game of Thrones, because I don't remember a whole. I mean, I remember stuff from book one, but I don't remember a whole lot other than that. I know it's like this huge social phenomenon, but yeah. So that's where I'm on Game of Thrones. I know there's been a lot of like hot takes. I know what's going on with it. I've seen all the talk about the show, but I haven't seen it. Have to wait for your kiddos to watch certain shows. Yeah, yeah. It's just like, and in general, I just don't watch that much TV. Oh, till they go to bed. Yeah, yeah. No, I'm with you on that. I mean, I do that with like the Bachelor, Bachelorette stuff. I really don't. I don't watch that much TV. I do sometimes watch some stuff on Netflix, but we don't have cable, so I'd also have to go out of my way to get access to Game of Thrones or buy it, and like I don't know, it just hasn't really been a priority for me. Okay, there was one other question on whether you have to have a Bookstagram or Book Twitter to have a BookTube channel. No, you don't have to do anything. Like, I do think it is helpful to have some other platform, whether it's like Goodreads or Instagram or whatever. You don't have to do all of them. I'm not super active on Twitter. I've been trying to do a little bit more, but for a long time I barely was even on there. Like, Instagram and YouTube are my primary platforms, and I review a lot on Goodreads. But you don't have to do anything. You can just do YouTube. There's no reason you have to do it. I just think it can be useful. I do think Twitter is probably my least favorite because of all the sort of petty drama that goes on there. Like, Twitter seems to be, book Twitter is like a wild place sometimes. And sometimes I just like sit there and watch and don't say anything. 'Cause, yeah. So there is that. But no, I mean, I think you can do whatever you want to do, however you want to do it. I think that it can be helpful to have cross-platform promotion because you just have more places that you're reaching people. And you'll have some crossover, and some people will follow you on one platform and not the other, and that's fine too. But no, do whatever you want to do. I mean, it's a hobby. Like, there's nothing that you have to do or not do. Okay, those are all the questions I have so far. Any other things you guys want to chat about? I'm happy to discuss whatever. This has been like long. I think I'll say I'll probably end it by an hour, but we have a few more minutes if there are more questions. If not, we can stop there. But this has been super, super fun. Any last minute things? I could talk about what I'm reading or whatever. Okay, bye, Vivian. Thank you. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good time at the office. Favorite self-care routines. Oh. Okay, so makeup in the morning is actually, like, for me, a big self-care routine. Faves of, okay, I'm Melanie, I'll write that down. Yeah, so every morning I like sit and maybe watch YouTube videos or something and do my makeup. And for me, that's like a self-care moment. It's like focusing on myself, mentally and emotionally preparing myself for the day, doing something that's like kind of artistic a little bit because I love like playing with the colors. And I really enjoy that. Like if I don't have time to do it, I feel less ready to like get into my day. So for me, that's actually a big self-care thing. Also, like baths with bath bombs, like take a bath and read a book. That can be really, really nice if I need to just like unwind and calm down. If it's been a long day, like I'll do that in the evening sometimes. Those are definitely some big ones for me. Oh boy, non-booktube. Okay. Okay. Booktube careers. Okay, so Melanie asked Scribd. Oh, $8.99. Yeah, you should be able to, so at Scribd you should be able to upgrade. They do, I think, have a larger plan, unless they changed it, but like a couple months ago when I signed up, they had another plan available. I don't know, you could email them and see. I'm not sure, I'm sorry. So Melanie asked about my faves of the year. Okay, yes, so let me see. I do have some. I have them somewhere. Okay, I have this place where I wrote them down. So I'm pretty, like I said, I'm like fairly stingy with how often I'll give out like favorite of the year awards or like 6 stars, which is like a favorite of the year for me. And I have a page where I write them down, so let me find it. You heard I talked about one of them earlier. So With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo is my newest 6-star read or favorite of the year. Okay, here we go. And then had one in January, so Circe by Madeline Miller is really, really good. That one was not published this year, so I don't know if she wants to know like favorites of this year. This like favorites of things. Hi! Oh, well, thanks for joining. We'll be here for a couple more minutes. I'm talking about some of my favorite books of the year. So, yeah, so this is the most recent one I've read, With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. Definitely a favorite. I love it. She's amazing. Circe by Madeline Miller. Yeah, I love Circe for so many reasons too. I did an entire like review of it because I had so much to say for it. I loved it so much. Mid-year freakout tag. Oh no. Oh, you're gonna love With the Fire on High, Melanie. It's so good. It's so good. I forgot. I need to like remember to do mid-year freakout tag. Yeah, that's coming soon. Oh my gosh. Oh, where's the year going, guys? Where's it going? And then The Court Dancer by Kyung-Suk Shin is amazing. It's literary fiction translated from Korean, and I read it because of Matthew Sharapa, and I loved it. It's beautiful and super character-driven. The Unhoneymooners, I have not. I am on a waiting list for the audiobook from my library, so I do plan on trying it out. I've never read anything by Christina Lauren, so we're going to give it a shot, and we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Sadie by Courtney Summers, that one came out last year. Really, really love that. I think it was fantastic. And then 2 of my favorite books, YA books that have been published in 2019, I would say Girls with Sharp Sticks by Suzanne Young. It's a sort of sci-fi thriller. It's amazing. And The Kingdom by Jess Rothenberg, which I, just came out, so I've been pushing that everywhere. Absolutely loved it. That's definitely a favorite for me. I read The Queens of Innis Lear. Sadie is a great audiobook. Yes, highly recommend that audiobook. I listened to it. It's really good. But yeah, Queens of Innis Lear by Tessa Gratton was a favorite for me. It's funny. I started reading the first 100 pages or something a year ago, January of 2018, and put it down and never picked it up. And then in April, I finally picked it up again and read it and absolutely loved it. Thank you so much. Thank you, dyslexic muggle. Thank you. It's been really exciting. But yeah, Queens of Innis Lear by Tessa Gratton. Love it. It's amazing. Yeah, Melanie, we are totally book twins. We really are. It's kind of crazy to me. We were intended to be friends, I feel like. And then I also read another nonfiction one, Stamped from the Beginning by Ibram X. Kendi. It's absolutely amazing. I listened to that one on audio as well. I would recommend that to pretty much anybody. It is a history of racist ideas in America and in general. It starts from earliest recorded history in the world, and then mostly American history from when America began all the way up through the Obama presidency. It's amazing. Thriller, The Kingdom by Jess Rothenberg is a good thriller. Also, Girls with Sharp Sticks is amazing. Friends Like These. I do not know about Friends Like These. No, haven't read that. And then Kingsbane by Claire Legrand. Controversial, perhaps. I think it's going to be a polarizing book, but it was a favorite for me. I really loved it. And then With Fire and Ice. Those are my favorites of the year so far. There are 9 of them. 9 of them so far. The Poppy War was on the fence. That was I don't know. It was a very high 5-star, but not quite. So yeah, those are my favorites that I've read so far. Really good books. Yeah. Okay, and then there was one other question. I wrote it down. Hold on. Let me find it. Where is it? Oh, favorite non-booktuber creators. So I mostly watch booktube these days. I used to watch a lot of other stuff like beauty and family vlogs and whatever and geeky content. I just don't really have time. Yes, you're welcome, Melanie. I hope you enjoy. They're all really, really great books. I think you'll like them. The main non-booktuber creator that I watch, well, I guess there's 2. There's only really 2 that I regularly watch. One of them is Keto Connect. So they do videos about keto, low carb dieting and do recipes and stuff. And I don't watch all of their videos, but I enjoy some of their product reviews and their recipes. I think are really good, so I follow them. And then the other one I follow is Video Influencers. And this is a really good one for creators who on YouTube, because they give a lot of information about best practices on YouTube in general, and a lot of tips and tricks for growing your channel, making better content, doing a better job of optimizing for the YouTube algorithm. So those are pretty much the only 2 non-booktube channels I watch at this point. So yeah. Yay! Oh, yes, Black Wings Beating is so great. Lori, I'm so glad. Yeah, it's one of those that's kind of flown under the radar. I think it's amazing. I'm really excited for Red Skies Falling. And I think if people are interested in a read along, I think I want to reread Black Wings Beating before I read the next one. I have an arc of the next one that's coming out this fall, but I loved it. It's kind of one that people don't really talk much about, but I thought it was one of my favorite books last year. It was really good. Okay, and then things that I want to see adapted. I'm really excited to see Wayward Children adapted. I think that was great. I feel what would be good? I'm trying to remember. I feel there was something that I read recently that I thought, that would be so good adapted. I don't remember what it was. They're doing a lot of really cool adaptations right now, though. Yeah. Okay. I do have an answer. Oh, am I on keto? Okay, so I'm I do lazy keto sometimes. Part of it for me is I wanted to reduce my sugar intake was a lot of it. Skyward. Oh, Brandon Sanderson did Skyward. That's really good. Trying to get the weight. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's big with PCOS. Yeah. So for me, it's helpful to decrease my sugar intake because I think I have a family history of diabetes, and so that's an issue that I want to address. I have not been consistent enough to lose a whole bunch. Oh, no worries, that's fine. Skyward is really good. I've not been like super consistent with it, but I generally try to do more low carb stuff, and I aspire to do more keto, but I'm not always super consistent with it. But I have a big sweet tooth, and so I've significantly reduced my sugar intake and carb intake from what it used to be. So it has been a positive thing for me. Okay. So I will say, here comes somebody. I will say one thing that I would love to see adapted. Conrad, hey, you want to come say hi? I'm making a video. Want to say hi?
I
One thing I would love to see adapted is Sawkill Girls. I think it would make a super creepy horror movie. It'd be really good. So, yeah. You have anything to say? To the people that are watching? There's a bunch of people watching right now.
well, I have the funniest thing to say.
What do you have to say? Nothing?
Nothing.
Nothing! That's so funny. Okay, you want to say bye to them? I'll see you in a bit.
Okay.
Okay.
But I'll do the
Okay.
nothing.
Okay, nothing. Bye.
Nothing.
Okay. He's 5.
So I can think of silly things to say.
You can think of lots of silly things to say. Okay, guys, so we just went over an hour, so I think I'm going to end it there. But thank you all so much for hanging out. This has been really, really fun. And thank you for 2 years on BookTube. It's been such a great, amazing experience. We should do this more often. Thanks for all of the questions. I had a really great time.